Hi, this is Joan Hall, aka Joan the Choir Lady, and today I'm coming to you from a hotel room in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm in Nashville at the annual convention of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World, having a good time singing with the National Choir and all of that. But I'm taking a minute to make a video about something that happened back home in my choir rehearsal last week. So last week in our rehearsal, a new member joined the choir, and I was so glad, especially because this new choir member was a guy. And for a while now, my choir at home has been all women, about 9 choir members, all female. So really, really glad, yay, to have a guy joining the choir. However, the brother who joined the choir is not a tenor. He sings baritone and bass, and trying to sing tenor would not be good for him. It's not the voice God gave him, and it would be a strain, and I don't want anybody to strain. The thing with a lot of contemporary gospel choir music, a lot of it is written with only 3 parts: soprano, alto, tenor. And the tenor parts can get really high sometimes. So guys who sing baritone and bass, there just isn't a note for them in a lot of gospel choir recordings. So this is something that's been a pet peeve of mine for a long, long time. I really want to see gospel choir music be inclusive of all voices, and especially bass voices. The bass adds such a wonderful element to music, and you don't want anybody to feel like there's no place for them in the choir. And a lot of times guys who sing bass in rehearsals, directors will tell them, that's not the note, you need to go higher, go higher, go higher. And it's really not right for them. So if you have guys in your choir who sing bass, sing baritone, there are different things you can do. Sometimes people tell them, well, sing the melody an octave lower, sing, an octave below the sopranos or an octave below the altos. And that's possible. But if you can make a line, a real bass vocal line for them to sing, to have a part of their own, I think that's really great. So this last rehearsal that I hadn't had any warning that the brother was coming, so I had to, on the spot, make up a bass part for him. And if you need to make up a bass part for a gospel song that was written in 3 parts, here's a simple way to do it. And this will give you a very basic bass vocal. You follow the chord progression of the song. When the instruments are playing an F chord, then the bass would sing an F. If the instruments are playing an A flat chord, the bass would sing an A flat. So if you have experience with playing any instrument, the keyboard, guitar, bass, anything like that, then you know how those chord progressions flow in the song, and you can make a bass part from that. If you don't have experience playing an instrument, talk with one of your musicians, your keyboard player, your bass player, to get an idea of what the chords are, and then you can make a bass part using those same notes. If you don't have the opportunity to talk to a musician, for some songs you might be able to find a chord chart online or in a music book, a songbook, that tells what the chords are. And if it says G chord, have the bassist sing a G, and that'll give you a simple basic bass line. Sometimes there can be some fancier lines that you can put in. If you hear, well, I think they should do this, go with it. But if you want just the basics, that will get you where you need to be. Sometimes there'll be some parts in a song that you have to make some decisions. Like, sometimes songs will have things where the sopranos come in on something first, then the altos follow, then the tenors follow, and then what would you do if you're adding a bass part? Maybe there'll be just the right space where the basses can come in after the tenors. That's what we did last rehearsal on More Abundantly, the line, and to give your heart a song, song, song. And I had the basses come in after that, song, and it fit just right. In other cases, you might have the basses come in at the same time as the tenors, but on a different note, or you could have them come in earlier, come in with the sopranos and sustain their part all the way through or something, play with it and see what sounds good, what sounds right. The other thing that you have to think about is when you're teaching it. If you don't sing bass, then how do you give them their part? You probably will want to sing it an octave higher. Sing the bass notes, but you sing them an octave higher in your octave if you can't sing bass. And they'll probably be able to hear what it is that you mean and be able to, Brother Freeman Friday night, he did that just great. I sang it an octave higher. He knew exactly what he's supposed to do. It was cool. And sometimes the motion then of the line that you get might not be going up and down the same way that the soprano, alto, and tenor parts are. There might be places where the other three parts are going up, where the bass might be staying the same or might be going down. So it might take a little bit of extra time to drill them on that part if they can't just follow, go up when everybody else does, go down when everybody else does. So you might need a little extra time, so make sure to allow time for that and give them a chance to practice, especially since they can't go back and listen to the recording and get their part from there because you're making up a part for them. One more thing, if you want help making up a bass part, if you don't want to do it yourself, that is something that I can do for you. I have a link to my business, choirparts.com, and what I do with that, I usually take choir songs from the recordings and make practice tracks for the soprano part, alto part, tenor part. But if there's a song that you want me to add a bass part to, I will do that for you. You can email me and tell me the song, and I'll put a link down in the description talking about that, how much it would cost, all of that. So I can make a bass part for you if you want. I strongly encourage people, if you've got basses in your choir, give them their own part to sing. Don't fuss at them because they are not singing the tenor notes. God didn't make them a tenor. Don't try to make them one when they're not. Let them have something that works for them and fits the voice that they really have. And one, it's good for the music because the bass adds that depth to the sound and the singing. I love bass. You probably do too. And also, it can get your choir ready to do more challenging material. There's a lot of wonderful music that's written in 4 parts. Some gospel songs, also spirituals and classical and jazz and a lot of things written in 4 parts, and it can help you put you on the path to being ready to do some of that music if you're not already doing that. And it makes the choir more inclusive. Guys who have low voices, if they have a passion in their heart for glorifying God in singing, they can do that in the choir. The choir needs to be a place where they can be welcome. So those are my thoughts today about basses, and best wishes to all of you and your basses out there in your choirs, and I'll see you next time. Bye.